I'm about to show you how you can make $800,000 in one day trade. That's right, one trade, just like this guy. I took the trade myself as well, and I'm gonna be diving deep in how to find it, go bar by bar, what I was thinking before I took the trade, after, so that way you can also execute this trade when it comes up again, because it comes up often, but you just have to be patient. Let's dive deep. So here's the trade I took. You can see my executions, but now I'm going to dive into it bar by bar, step by step, what I saw, why I avoided shorting the front side, meaning selling before it started to crack. Because if you short sell, it means you're selling, betting that the price will crack and go down. That's how you make money. And so I'm going to dive deep into it right now, and you'll be able to download PDF versions of this with a link below, so that way you can follow along or study later. And a big shout out to the Short Bear. That is his trade that he shared on Twitter, share with the public. He likes to show his P&L, so went ahead and share that with all of you. That's just a possibility that you can do. At the end of the day, though, it doesn't matter what he makes, what I make, what anyone makes. It literally means nothing. What matters is that you focus on the process that I'm about to show you in detail. That way you can grow your account and focus on percentages, because you don't know if some guy made $10,000 on $1 million account, which means less than even 1% really, or 1%. And if you made $100 on a $1,000 account, you made 10%. So focus on the process over the profits. Let's get into it. The first thing you'll notice is I always like to look at the daily chart. And I like to zoom out to see if there's any overhead resistance, meaning any area where people want to sell into. And in this case, there really isn't. But what we do notice is an overextension exhaustion play. And what I mean by that is we have a multi-day runner. And in this pattern, 4 days is the sweet spot. 3 days is fine as well. But 4 days, which in this case is the sweet spot. And this is day 5 when we decide to trade the stock. Now, what you need before you look at trading this is you need a multi-day runner. You need over 100%. You need capitulation, which just means an extension in price or an extension in volume, or both preferably. In this case, we had an extension in volume and we had an extension in price. So once all of those are checked, we then are going to go ahead and dive into the chart. But before I do that, you need to understand the psychology. Everyone who has been in this stock since the 300s, the 340s, is up well off, and this is a large cap stock. So they are going to take profits the moment there is a reason to, which there hasn't been for quite some time, right? That is the premise, right? Along with overextension, multi-day runner, and don't forget that capitulation, that's all important. Now let's go ahead and dive into this. And I actually go into this in very, very detail like I'm doing right now, and show you the live trade alongside with it with live commentary in my Pop Trading System, which right now it's a Black Friday deal, 40% off. Everyone can get that. Just put the promo code BFriday. Just click the link below, and I look forward to seeing you in there. Now, after we see the overextension play, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the most recent action, which is the previous day. And what I want you to notice is, one way to avoid taking multiple losses, which I used to do all the time on these type of plays, is waiting for structure to reverse or to change the trend, right? So in this case, we have a trend that's obviously, this is clearly trending, right? It's clearly trending. And then on top of that, we have structure being formed. We have consolidation, it broke out, held the consolidation, then we got a push. Then we get another push, pull back, we held the consolidation, we get another push. And then we have structure that's beautiful on this day. And on this day, it's very important because $500 is a key psychological level. People are like, $500, or tweeting all about it on Twitter, Instagram, everywhere. People are saying it's going to break 500. And on this day, it breaks it just barely, and then pulls all the way back. And a lot of short sellers who are newer are just thinking, okay, this is the top. It broke 500 but couldn't hold. But they forget that structure is still intact, because when we get this pullback, it pulls back right into support. So it's still bullish. And I mentioned in my Discord room, which is free, I'll post a picture here where it shows you that I said this and timestamp, that I would not be short, or I'd be careful if I was short, because it's still holding the structure and still bullish. And what happens the next day? The next day we get a gap up above 500. So now everybody who was shorting, which means they're betting it's going to crash, go down lower to make money, is now upside down. So we start to get a push, and this is what's really pretty about this chart. We start to get a push, we start to get structure. And what we see here is we have the $500 level hold, which is holding, right? And then we get this area that's consolidating. We get the breakout, pull back into structure. So we're holding again, so we're still bullish. Then we get another breakout, so we're still bullish, right? This is all indicating I should not be shorting it. If anything, you may, in this case, you won't want it long because it's up so much. But if this wasn't up a lot, you could build a case for longing it. And then we get to the 550 level during the pre-market. And then this time we get a push during the pre-market and fail. Once we get that fail, some people are shorting right away. I tend to like to wait until I can see structure changing or reversing the trend. And the way we start to see that is we start to see the structure breaking. Not only do we get a fake breakout, right? The one indication that we got here, but again, that's not all we need because then you can get trapped like these guys did. We then break structure, right? We didn't break structure here. We then break it here and then re-break the previous structure again. And at that moment is when that is my sign that, okay, there's a good probability that this is the day we're going to start reversing. And now we have multiple reasons for everyone who's in the money to start taking profits because we get a fake break above 550. We get a break on the first structure, a break on the a break on the second structure. And at that moment, people start selling. And as you can see by the volume candle here, we have a massive red volume of 1.3 million shares being traded to the sell side. Now, once we get the crack, I start putting my orders out to short sell, risking above 548. Now, the reason I'm doing that, remember, you can't just randomly do this. You got to wait for signals, for signs, for the pattern to shift. You got to wait for the structure to change. This is a good indication that we are now going to be reversing. So what am I looking for? The daily chart, overextension, multi-day runner, 3 days or more, preferably. Never going red is even better. And on top of that, we want to see the intraday structure shifting, which in this case, we're shifting here. We're now breaking. Where in this case earlier, we don't. We hold, right? Here, we're not holding. We're breaking. So shorting these pops, risking against 550 is the plan here. And then we get a big meltdown. And these meltdowns typically drop anywhere between 20 and 50%. But we have a very significant drop that you could have capitalized on. And then you saw earlier the other trend that we talked about starts to crack. And when we get the crack of that, you can also reshort the pops off of the prior structure that we talked about earlier, this structure now. Because if it breaks above that, now we're reversing again. We're going back to bullish, but currently we're bearish. So I hope this is making sense because these trades are not difficult. The difficult part is being patient to wait for it. Everyone wants to be the hero and short the top. I myself wanted to be the hero for 3.5 years before I found consistency. You need to understand that you have to be patient. And if you really want to review this trade, check out the free downloads. You can download them for free. It shows you in details with my notes of why I traded it, where I traded it, and so forth. So that way you can review it and hopefully learn this pattern because it happens all the time. Here's another trade that happened just like that I did end up trading. DXYZ. Look at this, multi-day runner, then a massive pull. Same pattern. It happens often. And so I traded this one as well. Now, once you understand, I want you to learn this, but also understand it doesn't come often. So when it does, attack it, but be patient and wait for it. Because if you do, you can start to grow your account with just one pattern, but you have to wait. I can't emphasize that enough. Now, if you're interested in my Pops trading system, right now we're doing a Black Friday sale, 40% off, limited time. You just got to use promo code BFriday. That's BFriday. Click the link below, grab it. It's a limited offer, and I look forward to seeing you there. And good luck on your trading.